Hi, I'm Paul Feiner. I'm the Greenburgh Town Supervisor.
And I'm Pauline Mosley, co-host to Mr. Feiner. We're so happy you're with us today. And today we have a very exciting program for you. With us today, we have two guests, Miss Suzie Fromer, who is the coordinator of repair for the Hudson Valley Cafe. And joining her is Mr. Dean Gallea, who is also an organizer for the cafe.
And
welcome.
This is such an exciting initiative because if you need anything repaired,
yes,
you could come to our repair cafe and it will be done by your neighbors for free. And the headline of this show is called Solving Problems. So if people have a problem, their computer is broken, their light fixtures are not working, they bring it to the cafe and it will get repaired. And this also makes people feel that they're part of the neighborhood. And both of you have been involved in these repair cafes in the past, so could you tell us a little bit about your experiences?
Sure. I think we both started with the first one in Hastings, and that grew to become a Rivertowns Cafe group. And so it started in Hastings. I'm a jewelry repairer, so I started doing jewelry repair. I live in Irvington, and I said, hey, is it okay if I come from outside town? She's like, absolutely. That's Lindsay, and Ariella, who started that one. And they said, because we want to eventually grow to go rotate through the Rivertowns. So eventually there was a Dobbs one, and then Irvington, I was very involved with that one. And then it reached up to Tarrytown and Sleepy Hollow, which we call TarryHallow. And Dean, I'll let him speak. He's one organizer of that one.
Yeah, sure. I was a fixer in a bunch of the other ones that, like Suzie mentioned, when we started in Hastings, Dobbs Ferry, the others. I love doing this kind of thing because my background is I'm an engineer, electronics engineer, and and also an environmentalist. And it seemed like the obvious thing that I wanted to devote time to help people keep things in operation. It's the ultimate environmentally friendly thing to do, because if you keep a device in operation, you don't have to buy a new one. It keeps it out of the landfill. It's so great. So I really got deeply involved with doing repair cafes, and then I said, we really need one in Tarrytown, where I live, Tarrytown, Sleepy Hollow area. We coordinated with Sleepy Hollow and started this cafe last year, and we're going to have another one on April 28th. So
I have in my car an electric heater. My furnace broke, and I was going to throw it out. Should I give it a try at the repair cafe?
Sure, and anything that's portable and you can take in there, not a part of your car, obviously. But
no, this was like a heater. Yeah. One of the that you use when your regular heating system doesn't work.
Sure.
So you give it a try. Are you able to fix like practically anything, or?
It's about 75%. That's the average rate of success at a cafe, but it's pretty good. And that also doesn't include that often you'll have purchased a part with advice and you'll get the part and you might return to another cafe, or you might be able to do it at home with some advice. So 75% at the cafe with additional things fixed later.
We should mention, when is the repair cafe taking place in Greenburgh and where?
So Greenburgh is, I know it's the 18th of May. I think it's 10 to 2. I can't remember the final timing that they settled on.
Yeah, I think it's 10 to 2.
10 to 2. In Greenburgh, and it's at the TDYCC, the Community Center.
The Theodore D Community Center. Mm-hmm. That is great.
Saturday the 18th,
Do you have people volunteering so far?
Yes. I think we have 17 coaches. That was the latest I heard.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah. And they cover the bases from jewelry repair and electrical repair, bicycles, mechanical devices, furniture, that kind of thing. Anything that you can carry in that is something that's doable without special parts and things like that. Although what we do, if we can't repair something, we give the person the person who brought it in advice on what they need to do in order to get it working again.
Do people have to make like appointments?
No, reservations.
Or they just show up, and are there usually like long lines?
We're excited about this cafe, and we think there might be some lines, but it is first come, first serve. So if you have something you really want to get fixed, I would advise coming early. and get in line. And it is not a drop-off service. One of the reasons we call it a repair cafe, it's an international movement. This is actually the 15th year of international repair cafes. They started in Amsterdam, and there's this sort of culture of hospitality. So there is a little bit of snacks and something to drink, some maybe coffee, maybe just water, but while you wait, because you're sitting, waiting your turn, and then you work with the fixer. You sit with the fixer and watch them fix it, and hopefully learn about fixing, and also just have a social time with them, which is part of the
we call ourselves repair coaches,
yes,
because we'd like people to learn how to do this themselves, and really advance the movement that way.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Is it customary for our audience that they should bring tips? I mean, your time. So is it customary that a person, if I come with, let's say, a bicycle,
right,
and you fix it,
right,
should I give what is it?
We don't take tips, but the cafes take donations, and the donations absolutely are how we pay. We pay for parts. We do come stocked with, for instance, lamp parts, because lamps are the number one thing fixed at every U.S. repair cafe. So we need to have on stock, pre-purchased, every different socket, lots of different versions of sockets, lots of different
cords
versions,
and plugs and switches and all that. Yeah.
So it goes to replenish that stock, and it also goes to feed. Like I said, we have a little bit of hospitality, but also, most important, we feed the fixers, because they're there for 5 hours, and it's a lot of work.
It is. What dedication.
Yeah.
It's so wonderful.
Are most of the fixers people who are trying to introduce themselves to the community to help their businesses, or are they doing it just because they want to help their neighbors?
I think it's, as I said, the mission is to keep things running, to keep things working and not being thrown away. And I think most of the repairers have that in mind. We didn't mention textiles. People can bring in torn shirts and things like that. There are people that will mend those. So it's not just hard goods.
Right, correct.
And you keep a shirt out of being tossed into the fabric recycling, and then you don't have to make new materials. A lot of the textile products are imported now, which is a greater harm to the environment.
If they bring a shirt or clothing, I guess they should wash it before?
Yeah, we really do. It really makes a difference to the fixers if the things are at least in somewhat good and clean condition.
You tell people before, or we should advertise that they should
really is kind.
keep it clean.
Yeah.
Sometimes when somebody is doing good, people don't always appreciate it. Have you ever gone to a repair cafe and somebody is waiting online and they're sort of insisting on better service, or they're complaining? And how do you deal with it?
I had it happen once, and I go to a cafe every weekend, and I've been at this job for almost 2 years, so only one time. And we couldn't help her, and she left. So typically, I have to say people are very kind. Yeah. And I'm a jewelry repairer, and I can do a lot of things on site, but I can't solder, and pearl knotting is just too extensive. It takes too long, so I don't do that. But people are so amenable to what you do. They're very flexible, and it's like I can come up with this fix on site, and they're like, yeah, let's do that, and they're very okay with that. So mostly people have been lovely.
What are some of the types of problems people have with jewelry?
Typically, it's very, very simple things like a jump ring, which is just the loop or the clasp. Something has just opened, and so I just replace it, and I have a ton of what they call findings, which are all the pieces. But I do a lot of rosary chains, it's a specific kind of wrapping. Sorry.
Excuse me.
And so I fix rosaries. I fixed a rosary for a nun. I fixed a rosary for a gentleman whose father had purchased it in Italy when he was fighting the war. So just all those kinds of things, and a lot of rebeading. A lot of times it just breaks.
And do you also have a professional business?
I do. I try to limit my repair work outside of the cafe, though, because my real job is the coordinator for all the cafes. So I do all the institutional level PR, website work, and supporting all the cafes. We actually have 60 at this point throughout the Hudson Valley.
Right, so the Greenburgh one, which will obviously be the best ever. What other, do you have a schedule of some of the nearby cafes? Are
Yes.
they doing it in their Hastings or?
So April 28th, 10 to 2 is the one that's happening. It's actually in Sleepy Hollow.
This time, yeah.
This time, last time I was in Tarrytown. We are having June 1st, so Saturday 11 to 3 is when the Irvington one is going to be. We just got word that Dobbs Ferry is coming back because their organizer had left, and so now, you have to hand the reins. And so they and Hastings are going to round out the year. We don't have those dates yet.
And do all the repair cafes have about the same number of fixers?
I mean, down here in Westchester, it's pretty populous, so they're all about the same size. But for instance, I'm going to a little cafe in Esopus this weekend, which is up near Kingston. And there's so many up there, because that's where the movement started here, was in New Paltz, that one will have probably 8 fixers. It's a very small, intimate cafe, and it's a little bit easier to come and get your stuff done and leave. So it just varies widely with the population and also what other cafes are in the area.
One of the thoughts that I have is, we want to encourage community.
Yes.
And we want people to feel good about their neighbors. And I guess one of the side benefits of a repair cafe is it's a way to meet neighbors, but also to appreciate that your neighbors are giving back to the community. Is that one of the goals of the repair cafe also?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And especially after the pandemic, that has been really hard for people to know where to go, to be with other people, and to get things that they want to do and learn new skills. So it's, as I go and I rotate through the different ones, I was in Pound Ridge last week, I feel like I'm a little bit a part of the community because I've been to several there and I fix for the same people every time. But it's lovely to see people coming together and visiting with each other. And, people learn to they're like, oh, I have this bag of stuff that I put away for the next cafe that's coming up, and then I just get my stuff. And and the other thing is, we haven't mentioned, of course, it's about the sustainability, but especially now, it's about saving people money. It's not about just it's about, if you get this printer fixed, you don't have to buy a new printer. And I think people are really appreciating that.
Oh, that's good.
absolutely.
I may come with a truck load of stuff. But, I was also, wondering, a repair cafe, there's like so many positives, to this. Are you looking for, are there any holes in the Greenburgh Cafe? Like where we're looking for another bicycle repair person, or?
I don't think we have a knife sharpener
Oh, that's
yet.
interesting.
I mean, sometimes people bring knives in.
Yeah.
If you have a knife sharpener, they can prevent a knife from being thrown away, because
Or from hurting yourself.
Exactly. And there's a few specialties that sometimes come in. You get somebody that specializes in wooden furniture once in a while. If you do have somebody like that, you publicize it so that people know to bring.
So now I have a new cause in life to get a knife sharpener.
Yes.
I'll put that on my resume. The other question I had is, when I went to the Irvington Repair Cafe last year, I was expecting that everybody who would go would be like in the lower income area, and I was really surprised. Do you have people, coming to a repair cafe, say in a Mercedes, and they really well? I mean, or do you have like all different economic people with different?
We do, and because it appeals to different. We have a lot of the environmental folks, right? And if it's a town that has wealth, those people come too. But it's about. And as a jeweler, I see different things than he does as an electrical fixer. I see things that might not be valuable, but they're very important to the people. They were my grandmother's faux pearls. Can you fix them? And so it's about the sentimentality of the objects as well. Yeah. And so we see a lot of like little stuffed animals for pets and children sewn, and so again, it's about just keeping things for yourself, not just because you have money or not. It's because this is an important item. It needs to be saved.
Yeah, we get a lot of heirlooms like that.
Yeah.
People will have something in there that's been sitting in their basement with, a little statue with a broken arm, not knowing how to fix it. And we have all kinds of people that know how to do gluing and getting things back
I remember
on display.
Yeah, when I first got married, I gave my wife my grandmother's wedding engagement ring, and the diamond fell off. Then we were in Rhode Island, and then I was crawling all around the parking area, and I found the diamond. But I never knew that with jewelry, diamond rings, it
So
can
that's
fall-
that.
yeah.
Oh, that it can fall. Yes, that would be beyond the scope of a cafe, something like that, which would be stone setting and
Right.
or resizing or soldering. I don't do soldering, but we do a lot. We can do a lot on site. It's kind of it's we like to
That's
say it's an
amazing.
emergency room. So people come with their stuff, and we can do those like triage and those fixes, but sometimes you might be determined to have to go to an operating room, and that's when we send you to a repair shop. And there are, in this area, a lot of people who do repair professionally, and that's we're really trying to support that, which is the circular economy.
What's do you have a repair cafe website?
It's repaircafehv for HudsonValley.org. And then if you go /calendar, you'll see the calendar of all of them.
Which is really terrific because if there's a big line, you could just go to one in a neighboring community.
You know, we do try very hard. We all are connected behind the scenes, so there aren't maybe two that are close by the same day because then you
talking about
could be
could be
for
like a week or
fixers.
two.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, you put it away. And I do think if it is crowded, we typically say like a limit of 2 items, and if it's super crowded, 1 item, and then go back to the beginning of the line. So, you know, we do have different ways to sort of mitigate that so people do get something done. With jewelry, when it's a little fix, it's a little different than like if it's a toaster that's going to take, an hour. We have different.
Is there any like manners that people should have? Like I'm sort of thinking that let's say I'm speaking to you because I want jewelry fixed, and then there's 5 people in back of me, and I start talking and asking questions for like 15 minutes. Everybody else is going to probably be ready to kill me. Do you give advice to the residents who are asking help, saying try making this you're not the only one. There's people online, and don't just chat for the sake of chat.
No, we're there to have a moment. We're there to have a social interaction. We're
Right.
there to have that. So, I mean, typically what I might do is if there's a line and you have something that's really lengthy, I might say, hey, here's some clippers, cut it apart, here's a board, line the beads up as you want while I fix this other thing, and then I'll come back to you and string it. So we get that, and we get a lot of people sort of working together, and you guys get fixers working together a lot.
Yeah, and sometimes I'll see somebody will drop a job on my table that I know is going to take a while to do, and I'll ask the person if it's okay if I put this aside and take care of this person's lamp over here. That it's only a 5-minute fix, and I'll get back to you.
Or they usually say yes.
Yeah, people are very cooperative. If they've been there, also if they've been there for a while waiting, and that there's somebody else maybe that has room to work on this that you don't have right now, you can send them over to them.
Are we going to have like food trucks or anything for the public?
I don't know. I haven't.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I haven't heard that. We can certainly suggest
There-
that.
Should I? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
There,
write
there
that.
are usually snacks available for the guests, and we provide lunch to the
For the fixers, yeah.
And the snacks they have to pay for?
No, they're
No.
just donated things like Mom's Organic Market brought apples
Yes.
and fruit to our repair cafe in Terrytown. I'm not sure what's lined up for Greenburgh at this point.
That's great. Are you looking for? I can't even change my Apple Watch. Even though you're, I'm not handy at all. Like that's not my forte. So, but let's say I would want to volunteer. Is there volunteer opportunities for people who can't fix anything?
Yeah, absolutely. We have some
Organizer.
cafes call them, the organizer, right? You could always join the organizer team. But also we have what we call either runners or ushers. And so, check-in, there's check-in table. And so that's where people sign the paperwork, and we have paperwork just to make sure everyone knows the rules and that it's for safety and also for photo permissions, because we love to publicize these events. But then someone needs to also say, okay, this is a toaster, and I know the electrical guys can do a toaster, but I know Dean's going to be really good for this. Sort of seeing who's going to be the best. But then also, someone might run over to Dean and say, "Hey, how much time? When are you going to be?"
Yeah.
And so those are with runners, and so
I
they come
see.
in and help people get to the right place and keep the lines moving.
Would it make? Do you know which room you're going to be using at the community center?
I do not.
It's the senior room that's over on the right-hand side as you come in.
Right, where the seniors meet for lunch and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Would it make sense to have chairs and give people sort of a number, so they don't have to stand waiting online?
Oh no, yeah. There isn't usually standing. It's usually that there's seating.
So then they'll say number. If you have a bicycle and you need a repair, we're now calling number 4.
I mean, I'm not 100% sure.
I don't know that any of the repair cafes I've been to, it hasn't been so much a number system. Is it okay? You're next. Just wait for this one. Wait for this table. Whatever. It's a matter of just organizing it in a way where people understand when.
Might have a few chairs at the station if and it's about triaging you to the right fixer too.
So could you just go over again? The different types of repairs. You mentioned the jewelry. Lights, hopefully
lamps.
a knife, lamps. Are there other things just so people?
Some people will specialize in portable electronics like laptops and phones. As I mentioned, if you have somebody that's good with wood furniture, gluing things or fixing broken parts, that's a specialty as well. We talked about textile repair.
And Franzoso is sending someone to come repair screens for people.
Screens, yeah.
Yeah.
Window screens.
Like a screen door or screen window. They cut new screen for you.
Oh, really? Oh, my gosh.
That's amazing. What about
happy spring.
glasses?
This is great.
What about glasses? Sometimes kids lose the thing on the glasses.
I personally, I'm the jeweler. I don't have a kit for that. I have tiny screwdrivers, and sometimes the mechanical people have tiny screwdrivers. So it's always worth a shot. And if we can't fix it, we can tell you where to go to get the piece together.
So for the screen doors, because I know I have a screen door.
Screen door.
And it's, the screen is a little, it always messes up. So I bring that.
They're coming. They're volunteering, and I saw them in Croton,
incredible.
and they just had a big screen, and they just put it out, and then there's this thing that looks like a little rubber pizza wheel, and they roll it into the hole, and then they cut it with an X-Acto knife, and you have a new screen. It's pretty cool.
Well, what happens if there's a real long line and it's the repair cafe is over at 2 o'clock? And there's 5 people waiting.
I've closed
online.
out many a cafe. Have you? I think so. I've just sit there fixing until they kick me out.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the ending time is kind of a soft thing, unless you have to be out of the facility at a particular time.
Other people are cleaning up, and we're usually still fixing.
But if somebody comes in after the end point, then you have to say, well, we're going to clear out what we have now, and that's
This
it.
is
You can come to the next one. By the way.
This is amazing. So where did this actually originate, the
Amsterdam.
idea?
Martina Postma, she was an environmental journalist, and she just had this idea, and it was what I would call sticky. It's a really good idea, and when it speaks to people like me, like Dean, it speaks to people like you. You came in and you saw it, and you reached out and you said, we got to do this in Greenburgh. And it's a great idea.
And it was sort of interesting because when I was there last year, I said, we have to do it. And then it becomes our responsibility of organizing it.
It has to be
so
local.
It wasn't like I figured, I'll speak to you and you just show up.
Bring it,
so it was this was a second try, actually, because I think I tried it, and then
it happens often. You just need the critical mass of communities. And so I have this massive document of notes of people from all over, and I just keep putting them together, and then they happen. And it's beautiful.
Sure. Well, what happened with Greenburgh is my friend Betsy, who's also a jewelry repairer, has repaired at a couple of other repair cafes, and she was so enthusiastic about the idea. She lives in White Plains. And she said, I'd really like to start a repair cafe in my community. And I said, well, White Plains would be a big ask because it's a big area to draw from. And she said, well, what about Greenburgh, And I said, yeah, that might work, And she made inquiries and found that there was a space for it, and it just snowballed.
Yeah, she basically called me and said, would you help us? And she didn't say, she said, we could do it in Greenburgh, we could do it in White Plains. And then I called the Theodore Young Community Center, and I said, this is really great, because I really have always wanted to do this at the Theodore Young Community Center. I thought that it would be such a great
for the
program,
community.
and they were receptive. And then Johan Snaggs, who's with the Fairview Empowerment Group, and he is amazing, because he tries so hard and really is a very good organizer. They've done some of these events at parks. He had a movie night that he organized. So then I spoke to him and I said, why why don't you organize it or help organize it? So, they were interested, and, when you have the right volunteers, then it's successful.
Yeah.
And I said, so,
There you go.
I'm sure this is going to be one of the highlights of
Greenburgh,
2024, and I'm sure this is going to, continue. But I really appreciate what you're doing, what both of you are doing, and it really is nice that this is spreading.
And it really has. Just this year alone, April, we have so many cafes coming up. It's a
That's
little,
fantastic.
little intimidating.
To share your craft and your expertise.
And so we're always looking for more volunteers. That's also part of spreading the movement is come, check this out, see, and get involved. We're always looking for more people of every stripe.
And again, I think, one of the nicest things about this is, people right now, if you read the news, it's all negative. And it's sort of nice to feel good about your neighbors and to feel that you're part of a community where people are helping each other. So this is really practicing religion.
It is. It's restoration, restoring things.
Yeah.
And as you're restoring things, you're restoring faith in humanity. I think it's wonderful what both of you do, and thank you for spearheading all of these cafes and bringing all the people together and all the craftsmen, and for a community to know that things don't have to throw out.
It's
right,
own
we're
reward, but I
recycling it.
appreciate
It's
that. Thank
wonderful.
you.
Do you
It really is.
If this is like really successful, would you recommend that we do another one in the fall?
Yeah.
Or do you have communities where you do 2 a year, or usually?
We have one community that does 1 a year, and it's hard to keep the momentum up. So 2 a year is good. Some communities, we each do 1, and it rotates, so it's like 4. But some do every other month, but every 3 months or just twice a year is great.
And you can gauge the interest in it by looking and see how many people come to you.
Yeah.
If you're really swamped and overloaded, you want to have another one.
I think this is going to be like really successful.
Yeah.
So again, could you tell us the date and the time and location?
The Greenburgh one is going to be
Saturday, May 18th.
Saturday, May 18th
10 to
at the Theodore Young Center.
Yeah.
And from 10 to 2. And put it on your calendar.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna
do
I
it.
have to borrow a car now to put a couple things in. But this is really great. I'm so excited, and I'm so grateful that you're doing this. This is one of the nicest things that I've seen happening, and we're really so fortunate to have both of you living in our communities.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you. And I'll see everybody next week with another problem. Probably it won't be as successful as problem-solving program, but we'll try. But this is really great.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. We appreciate it.